what growing do I need to do? What work do I need to do emotionally to get to a place where in this particular scenario, what I'm not advocating or saying is that it's not important to be heard and understood. So please understand where I'm going with that. So I'm not saying that. I think there are absolutely, on many occasions, if not most occasions, in most relationships, where it is very important for both parties or all parties involved to be truly heard and truly understood is I feel critical to have in the vast majority of situations and stuff and relationships. This is kind of a unique situation, unique experience, with a lot of layers and a lot of factors and a lot of players and a lot of things. Working through some emotions and feelings, some fairly strong emotions and feelings, some very positive, some not so positive. And Kathy made a comment that nailed one of the emotions and feelings I was feeling, but not able to identify. And I know that is one of the feelings that I am feeling because when she said it, like it struck a nerve. And that was, her comment was, I do not feel the need currently to be understood, to be heard or understood. And again, that just completely stopped me in my tracks. I'm like, oh man, I think I have been wanting to be heard and understood in this particular scenario. And then I asked myself, well, why, where's that coming from? Why do I feel like I want to be heard and understood? And, where's that coming from? And, can I get myself to a place emotionally where I have the freedom to not be heard and therefore potentially understood? What growing do I need to do? What work do I need to do emotionally to get to a place where in this particular scenario, what I'm not advocating or saying is that it's not important to be heard and understood. So please understand where I'm going with that. So I'm not saying that. I think there are absolutely, on many occasions, if not most occasions, in most relationships, where it is very important for both parties or all parties involved to be truly heard and truly understood is I feel critical to have in the vast majority of situations and stuff and relationships. This is kind of a unique situation, unique experience, with a lot of layers and a lot of factors and a lot of players and a lot of things. And, and it was interesting how Kathy processed it, because she's like, for me, I value my peace of mind, my freedom, my space, my my freedom, my space, my peace of mind more than I currently want to be heard and understood. And I just thought, wow, that just super duper hit me. And this is a very unique situation, a lot of emotions, a lot of intensity and stuff. And I just thought that was very wise, or a very insightful place to be, where my wife is at. And so, so then there's a whole, another series of questions is like, okay, well then, so if I can get myself to the same place that she's at, where I don't, even at the risk of being misunderstood and not heard, or, not heard and therefore being misunderstood, is there a time, right? Is there a time for me to, okay, if I get to that spot where, hey, I'm fine with not being heard and not being understood and therefore potentially misunderstood, is there a time in the future where I will want to be heard and understood, or that I even need to be heard and understood? Because, again, so what was my purpose for wanting to be heard and understood? Where's that coming from? Again, and this, again, it's kind of an intense emotional thing, and so will there ever be a need for me to want to be heard and understood, or not even a need for me to want to be heard and understood, but a need for me to be heard and understood? Well, because those are two different things. And again, I don't know that yet. I don't know. Maybe, and Kathy even walked that dog further, and she said, man, it may even be easier to be in a place where we are not heard and not understood. So anyway, I just thought that was another very unique and interesting perspective. And part of it, I think, is, based on how the value of the relationship for, maybe on both sides, but maybe on our side, on kind of how we are feeling and where we're at, maybe that also plays in, right? If I don't feel like a party or parties values a particular relationship, then maybe I don't feel a need to go through the time, effort, energy, intention to restore that. You know what I mean? If I don't feel like there is perceived value there in that relationship based on, behavior and over a period of time, then maybe it's not. Maybe that's the factor. Maybe is what's the value of the relationship? Maybe that's what determines whether or not at some point to go through with being heard and understood. Anyway, just some reflections, thoughts that, that I am currently thinking through and working on based on my emotional growth journey and everything. And another one little final thought is the power of conversation. The power, and for me, based on where I'm at in my emotional growth journey, man, I can't tell you. Kath and I have 5, 10, 15. Let's call it. I'd say easy peasy 5 to 10 conversations a day about, how are we feeling? What are we thinking? How are we processing? And the value of those conversations for me is absolutely priceless. Now, part of that is I'm an external processor. Now, Kathy is not. She's an internal processor. But just, hearing where she's at, and then, she'll have some questions for me on occasion. I'll have some questions for her. And just hearing how she processes, and then discussing and processing together, that kind of thing, and then processing separately and then processing together has been a very, very crucial resource, and also conversations with other people about how they are processing certain things as well has also been very helpful in helping me build a mental file and an emotional file for even how to talk about this stuff, how to talk about feelings and emotions, how to process feelings and emotions, how to think about feelings and emotions. So let's change the world by changing your world, by changing you. So excited to be a part of this emotional growth journey with so many of you to become emotionally healthy entrepreneurs, leaders, and influencers.